Agent Romanoff. You miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Captain, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey everyone.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Film Artsy, your #1 source for all things films and movies. My name is Elijah, and while over the years we've really gotten to know and love a lot of the stars that play these iconic roles in the MCU, we also have found that some of these actors are actually pretty hilarious and have had some amazing on-TV interviews that have really made us laugh over the years. So we thought, why not put together the top best, funniest moments from the TV interviews and kind of reminisce over which really were the best of the best. That being said, today we're taking a look at some of the funniest moments we've seen in TV interviews from our favorite MCU stars. Let's go ahead and get into this list. First up, we have Chris Evans.
A 33-year-old man, and you know, I say at least 4 to 5 times a day, just to myself, under my breath, you just kind of say, I don't like it.
And it's so applicable. It's a junket. You did a press junket with
not
Jeremy Renner,
intentional.
and they asked you some
This just
question.
happens.
Yeah, watch this. This is a real clip.
If you would have to choose a theme song for the Avengers, maybe for the next movie, which one would you pick?
God, I don't like it.
This one's pretty great just because on screen, Chris Evans plays a pretty generally serious character at all times and sometimes has an extremely strong opinion. And it's kind of fun to see how Chris Evans is off screen kind of in a different light than what we might be used to. He is actually pretty hilarious here, and it's funny to see that the language he acquired, and just in general, we really love this clip, and how can you not be a fan of Chris Evans? Next up, we have Tom Holland and the rest of the cast.
Said my first, middle, and last name, and I did whatever they wanted.
Who among you is least trustworthy when it comes to the secrets?
Oh my God! Even the audience.
The name dog.
I heard that rumor too.
Tom,
You know
did you
what's
tell
funny?
them what happens before?
So the end of the movie. No, I don't know.
Snitches
No, I remember.
end up in ditches.
Yeah. No,
First of all, the American version of that, even though we love your Britishness, is snitches get stitches.
Right.
This one was just pretty great, and yeah, group interviews like this are just so amazing, but really this one just zeroes in on Tom Holland, and it's kind of this ongoing gag in the MCU and the community that follows that he kind of has a pretty big track record of spoiling movies, and it's been funny because he's been forced to pair up with several different actors who'll make sure he doesn't spoil something on accident. But at the end of the day, Tom Holland's hilarious, and it's great to have him as Spider-Man, and even if he spoils things every now and then, it just kind of makes the joke funnier, so we have that at least. Next up is Anthony Mackie.
And there was this girl who had to be like the original Kardashian, because she was like, pow, 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 pow. And I was like, you just don't see like women like that look like that.
I mean,
those two things together.
You had a couple of pows.
The pow, pow,
The pow, pow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boing, yang, yang, yang. So,
We really like Anthony Mackie just because of his storytelling technique and his sarcasm when he tells stories. We've seen it so many times in different panels and interviews he's been in the past, but this is just a great example of how funny this guy really is, and he really is kind of, even though he plays a secondary character in the movies, he's really a strong and comedic figure when they're doing press tours and he has to go, on these talk shows to make it entertaining enough and kind of promote whatever movie he's a part of. So either way, we love Anthony Mackie, and it's pretty funny overall. Next up is Chris Pratt.
They can't tell you because they don't know the words yet.
Right.
He's so vocal. He just never, it's not that hard for him.
He's talking?
Yes, and it's super frustrating because you're like, all right now, Jack, I think it's time for bed. And he'll say, I thought about it, and no thanks, Dad. Not right now. And I'm like, he's so polite. What am I supposed to do? He'll be like, I don't think so. I'd rather not right now.
this one's a great example of how an actor really evolves and becomes funnier and funnier over time. And Chris Pratt just has such a great sense of humor and such a great comedic tone when he does interviews and other types of things like this. And we really love this clip just because it shows how Chris Pratt can kind of take something that's from his everyday life and really just show a comedic moment and tell the story so well. And just in this short clip, when he's talking about his son and how smart his son is, it just plays really well, and it's funny. Next up is Bradley Cooper.
I got I don't know what this is.
Yeah, that's like highlights. Yeah,
it's like frosted tips.
Boy band. Yeah, absolutely. You got boy band hair.
Anyway, went to London, went to see his bones, and it was amazing. But segue. Anyway, the bones.
We can't use that. We'll cut this out. I know we're talking about the Elephant Man's bones.
A lot of people don't actually know that Bradley Cooper is the voice for Rocket Raccoon, but he is, and we don't really know what's going on in this clip that we just played, but it's so funny to see the fact that he cannot control his laughter at all, and neither of them really can. And it just shows how funny these people both are off screen, and Bradley Cooper really is such a character, and it's great that he is a part of the MCU even if he's not on screen all the time. Next up is Paul Rudd.
I was on the observatory floor of 2 of the tallest buildings in the world.
Well, that's Paul Rudd's life now.
That's also something I never saw coming.
Well, you're from Kansas, which is
Not a lot of tall buildings
in there. Not even hills, really, right?
No, very few.
Kansas City is a great town.
It's a great town. It is.
One of the best steaks I've ever had in my life there.
It's,
at the Golden Ox.
The Golden Ox.
Yes.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd is a really interesting character on screen and off screen. He's comedic, but he's not necessarily a comedian in that type of sense in the way that he presents and tells stories. He's just such a situationally funny character, and it's perfectly displayed here with his knowledge of Kansas or whatever. We just like Paul Rudd, and he really does a great job at being Ant-Man, and he does a great job with both portraying the character, and he was a head writer for Ant-Man and the Wasp, which was a solid movie if you ask us. Next up, we have Chris Hemsworth.
Do your kids get excited about the fact that Daddy is Thor?
One of them. I have 3.
Does. Okay.
So 1 out of 3 is good for me.
Yeah, that's enough.
One thinks it's really cool, and I come home from work and he says, "Papa, did you fight the monsters at work?" I say, "Yeah, I've been doing press all day. Plenty of monsters."
Chris Hemsworth is another one of the actors in the MCU who's just been around for such a long time, and slowly his savagery when he's doing interviews and just the way he tells stories and his sarcasm and his little bit of shade he throws at the media and stuff like that, it is becoming comparable almost to Robert Downey Jr. Sure, he's no Robert Downey Jr. quite yet, but he's definitely becoming a savage in his own ways, and it's pretty great to see, especially because he's such a likable person. And this story just kind of really encompasses everything that he is and who he is as a person and a father and a comedian and an actor all at the same time, and we appreciate that, and we think that this clip is a great representation of Chris Hemsworth. Next up, we have Mark Ruffalo.
I asked you to read my acceptance speech since I lost.
Yeah, and then I lost. And couple losers. I had a good time. We just sat there. We were in the loser section. Yeah. Well, we had a good section. It was a fun section.
We did. We had a great section.
Me, you, Julia Roberts, Jim Parsons.
All the other losers.
I'd rather sit with the losers, man. The losers had the best section. We had fun,
We're
man.
like the Bad News Bears.
While Mark Ruffalo might not have been in the MCU since the very beginning, he definitely did a great job at stepping up to the plate and becoming the Incredible Hulk and becoming Bruce Banner. And this scene's just really good. It kind of shows in a way how humble he is and how he utilizes self-depreciation just for comedy. And it's just kind of funny and clever here, and we appreciate that, even though he probably should have won whatever award he was going for. But he can't win them all. Okay, we have a few more really great ones coming up in just a few seconds that you're not going to want to miss. But before we get into that, if you like what we do here at Film Artsy, you like the type of content we make, and you want to support us a little bit more, or you want to kind of get a look behind the scenes on what we do, consider checking out our Patreon at Film Artsy, because it takes a team to keep this thing going, and sometimes media stuff can be expensive and whatnot. So if you can help out in any way you can, we'd really appreciate it. It would mean the world to us. It shows your support. You get some cool extra perks, which would be really nice. There's a link in the description down below if you want to check it out. Otherwise, let's go ahead and we'll get back into the video. Next up, we have Don Cheadle.
Play was this you were doing?
That's a mime tree. What do you mean?
Oh, yeah. No,
That's not obvious what that is?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Me and my friends always get together like, you guys want to do a mime tree? And like, wait till the end of the night. Yeah, then we can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would you do as a mime tree? Just pretend you're a tree, yeah?
Well, you know, you get together in a collective and decide as a group what it is that you're going to form. And we said, tree.
We just love this clip because there's so much sarcasm going on and humor, and obviously he provided the picture. I wasn't shocked that this picture would be pulled up in the interview, but it's just so funny how this interview goes and this play on that picture goes. But at the same time, we really appreciate Don Cheadle and everything he's brought to the MCU. Another actor who hasn't been in the MCU since the beginning. He was a recast for Rhodey, and he does a pretty good job at it, and we're glad he's a part of the MCU overall, and we hope we get to see a little bit more from him moving forward. Next up, we have Tom Hiddleston.
Front right leg of the elephant that Eddie was wearing.
So it was 4 of you to make the elephant?
That's right, yeah.
And he was sitting on you?
He's sitting on... We're holding a table with a cushion on top of it, and also a tablecloth to cover our faces, because our bodies are the elephant. Yeah, so that's... that
sounds awful.
Tom Hiddleston is absolutely hilarious, and it's really surprising that not more people know how comedic and funny this actor actually is, especially in his interviews. Maybe it's because he plays the darker villainous role or anti-hero role of Loki, but outside of that character and that trope he plays, he's actually a really funny person, and just the way he tells stories and makes comedic jokes about things is pretty spot on. Next up, we have a second clip from Mark Ruffalo. We tried to avoid duos, but this one's just too good to pass up.
This little boy, Nicholas, sat across the table from her, and he looked up at me and he said, Are you the Hulk? And I was like, well, no. And my daughter's like, yeah, he's the Hulk. Can you turn into the Hulk? And I was like, she's like, do it, Daddy, do it. And he went, no.
This one's just great because you totally get a good mental image of what's going on through Mark Ruffalo's acting, in a sense, in this interview. But overall, it's just a really funny story. We really appreciated it, and we didn't want to do this video without at least including this clip also, so we snuck 2 of his clips in. Next up, we have Evangeline Lilly.
Gorgeous. It's quite Valentine-y, don't you think?
It's very Valentine-y. It's about as Valentine-y as I like it. It's full of women.
Full of women and full of pink and red and bows. It's pretty.
Are you a very girly girl? Do you do all that?
I'm the farthest thing from a girly girl, although today's the excuse.
Right.
And this is the first Valentine's Day that I have ever celebrated.
Really?
Ever outside of my father. That sounded weird.
This clip is just absolutely great and funny and awkward, and just good comedic timing in its own right, just because it's something that totally didn't need to be awkward, that definitely got super awkward quickly. But overall, Evangeline Lilly is the first headlining actress to be a character in the MCU who is a female for a movie, with their character's name in the title of the movie, with Ant-Man and the Wasp. We have Captain Marvel coming out as the first standalone female, but Evangeline Lilly does deserve credit for what she did for the MCU so far. And finally, Robert Downey Jr. And there's so many hilarious clips he's in. We just picked a couple of our favorite and just kind of put them together in this one.
I mean, and you had a crazy blowout from what I read. I guess my invitation lost in the mail. It's fine. But you know how to... You know where I am pretty much every night. It's no big deal.
Yeah, you weren't invited.
Girls, what are the things that people want you to say?
Let me think. I don't know, like, sure, we'll take a selfie.
Do you like watching yourself as Iron Man on screen?
Yeah, more and more every time.
You do?
So yeah, those were our picks for the funniest interview moments from the MCU cast. There are a ton more funny moments out there, and we really might want to do a part 2 of this. So if you enjoy this video, hit the like button and leave a comment if you would like to see part 2. Also, leave a comment on who your favorite MCU actor is. It doesn't necessarily have to be your favorite character, but overall, who is your favorite actor? Who do you think really helps the Marvel Cinematic Universe be as great as it is today? Let us know in the comment section down below. Make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on, and we'll see you all next time with a brand new video.
Talking?
I'm about to.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Hi.
Hi. See you guys.